Do you wish that your mornings were calmer, but every morning routine that you try makes you feel like a failure before 7 a.m.? Like, who's waking up at 5 a.m. and drinking lemon water and journaling about it? I can assure you that is not me. I have seen and scoured the internet on YouTube for the best morning routines, and a lot of them are trying to entice me that we wake up at 5, we meditate, we hydrate, we stretch, we journal about it, we maybe even sing Kumbaya. Ma'am, I don't even know where my will to live is at that hour of the day, let alone journaling about it. The truth is that a lot of these morning routines are just that, like many things, are not designed for ADHD brains. I think there's a lot of go-getters out there that know what they're talking about, and they're going to put it on the internet because they know how to do it. But if you have ADHD, it's a little different. It's a little bit of a different story. Can you be quiet? But we are going to talk about why it's hard and what has worked for me. And that's what we're here for. First, why is it hard? Well, first of all, we don't sleep very well. So those of us with ADHD are known for having a lot of sleep problems. We also have a lot of executive dysfunction. So it's really hard to get up and go. And there's a lot of teeny tiny micro tasks you need to do to line up your day to get out the door. No gas in the tank. We're at zero power before the caffeine kicks in. And if you're on meds, those puppies haven't kicked in yet. It usually takes about an hour to get that full effect. We are just raw dogging it through the morning. But here's how I raw dog it until I feel like things are moving and grooving and we get out the door and actually move on with our day. I call it the Good Choice Buffet. We're going to stick with this buffet example. I know buffets aren't for everyone, but we're talking about like the cleanest, most hygienic, single person use buffet. Okay? So stay with me here because you're going to start taking some notes. All right, so you're standing in front of this idealized version of life, perfect buffet. And the Good Choice Buffet is called that because guess what? Everything on that line is something that you love, something that you like, something that you do. But the cool thing about a buffet is you're not a kid anymore. You get to choose what goes on my plate today. And that's why I like this example. So you don't have to be like, I'm going to become a new person. I'm going to try a brand new food that I don't like. No, you get to wake up, you get your essentials, and you're going to choose, what am I going to have that's on the light side? What am I going to have that's on the heavy side, like my protein? It's going to fuel my day. And what is something yummy and delicious that I can have at the end that might be a sweet treat? So that's the cool thing about buffets, and that's going to be the cool thing about your revolutionized morning routine. So now I'm going to walk you through my morning, so that way you have a nice snippet of exactly what this looks like in play. Starting first with your essentials. I wake up. I have an alarm that goes off at 6 a.m., but to be honest, I always snooze, so it's usually around that 6:08, 6:12 mark where I'm actually getting out of bed because I physically have to put my alarm clock across the room to grab it out of guilt. So we're getting up. The other essential thing I have to do is I have to feed my cat as soon as possible. She is, how old are you, Millie? I think she's 17 this year. So she's an old lady and she gets a little cranky if she doesn't get fed first thing in the morning, and she'll wake up the whole house. So quieting the cat is an essential task I have to do immediately. This is on autopilot because her cat dishes are within easy reach, and I know exactly what I have to do first. Next comes the pooch. We have to make sure that we feed the dog and we let him out. So those are things that I'm doing right off the bat. I talk about the light section. The light section is where I'm looking at my salad bar of choices and I say to myself, what do I want to do first? In this section, I could make my coffee. So I usually have that programming. Maybe I'm also popping in a bagel in the toaster, which is going to be my daughter's breakfast. Because again, essentials, we have to feed the children before they go off to school. And these are other things where I am feeding the dog. I'm letting him out. I'm keeping an eye on that bagel. I'm maybe having a sip of coffee. There's also no social media during this time. I block my social media on my phone, but I am allowed to read the news. I I usually like reading the Morning Brew, which gives me kind of like a nice little idea of what's happening in the world. They seem pretty unbiased, but they also let the reader choose, you know? I can't stress enough that when making my own list and deciding what really derails my day in the morning, and it's having access to social media first thing in the morning, I will stretch out my back with me hanging out over my island, and I will lose easily 15, 20 minutes to a stranger organizing her pantry at 6:15 in the morning. So we don't need to do that. We have canceled social media at that hour in the day by using my brick block, and it's been a game changer. So that is something that I make really hard. If I am desperate to see what's happening on Instagram, I have to unblock my phone by walking across the room and tapping my refrigerator on my brick device. I just have found that I don't need to do that. Next up, we have the protein section. These are things where we got to get up and go. There is a whole lot of body doubling that also happens. Out of privacy, I did not film this, but what that can look like is many times me waiting outside the bathroom door, checking in on her, making sure that she's doing the things she should be doing because she is also learning this morning routine and how to get out the door. You're making this very difficult to film. In that protein section, we're also thinking about what are the little hacks that I have developed and done over time. And that is anything that simplifies or streamlines getting out the door, like putting your socks near your shoes in the closet. We don't store socks anywhere else in our house except our front closet. So it's just one less step. We make things easier to get out the door. We make it harder to do the bad things. My daughter does not have access to her cell phone until she's in the car. So there are little carrots that we take in order to get out the door so we're not yelling at each other and that we're a little peaceful. I knew I was forgetting something. Something else in the protein section that I need to point out is if you have two kids that you're getting off to school at different times, I am not put together when the first kid goes to school. That's not part of my protein-packed part of the buffet. I am using that time to get my daughter out to school and that she is all set and she's all glammed up however she wants, going off to middle school. I'm going to say 75% of the time am driving to the car line in my pajamas, and I may or may not have brushed my teeth. But you know what? It's because I haven't reached that point where I'm going to be socializing with humans other than my daughter. That is for the dessert section. Now I would like to really stress how awesome it is when you get to the sweet treat part. My morning routine from start to finish starts at 6 a.m. and it goes all the way until about 9 a.m. So we're talking a 3-hour routine. If I didn't have children, that would probably be cut down by about an hour and a half. But by the time that my daughter is at school, I then have to get my son ready for school. There is an hour and a half split, roughly, of when I'm getting her to school and when I'm getting him to school. By the time I get home, I'm like Mary Poppins' mom. Caffeine has kicked in. Meds have kicked in. I am dressed. I hopefully have my teeth brushed. But if not, I'm taking care of it now because I have the energy to do so. And I'm getting ready to handle other people and greet the day. So this is where I actually make myself breakfast. This is where I'm doing the essentials and taking care of my son, but I'm also fitting in bonus things that will springboard my day. So that includes maybe starting a load of laundry. Maybe I am unloading that dishwasher because if it is not unloaded at the beginning of the day, dishes will inevitably pile up and then there'll be a huge mess at the end of the day. So if you can jumpstart things, that's just a good habit, then we're going to do it. Those are great pockets of time where I try to do some type of micro cleaning task. And it's just a bonus, you know? It's that cherry on top where I'm like, man, I feel really accomplished. And it's all before 9 a.m. Sometimes I'm even going as far as sitting down and blocking my day. Do I do this every day? No, I do not. But the days that I do, it really, again, gives myself a play-by-play of exactly how I'm going to go through the day. So I sit down. This is my favorite agenda. It is, for my brain, one of the best ones that I've ever bought. It's the Caffeinate and Conquer planner by Callie Bransford, and I just love it because it includes brain dumping, where I just say, these are all things that are bouncing around my head that I'm nervous about. Then it helps me write down where are those essential activities happening throughout the week. And then you can break it down hour by hour and cater it to be like, what can I actually get accomplished today? It reminds me so much of like when I used to prepare for final exams in college and I would like map out my week. It's the exact same thing. And it really kind of gives me bite-sized ideas of exactly how I can tackle my week. And I don't need to worry about tomorrow, because if I stick with what I have to do today and make sure all of them are taken care of, then it doesn't pile on to the next day, which I love. I really just wanted to share this routine with you because I feel like it has made me feel so much better and more accomplished about my mornings, instead of putting this undue pressure on myself to be like that yoga loving, journaling girly at 5 a.m. If that works for you, I am so happy for you, but it is not for me. Here's the thing is I'm not trying to do everything. I'm trying to make enough good choices that I know are predictable, that I can know what to expect in the morning, because when things don't go as according to plan, we can really spiral. We're not chasing perfect mornings, we're chasing calm. I'm always looking at my own choice menu, and I'm so curious what is on your menu. I'm not going to turn into someone else that I'm not, but I think we can really learn a lot from everyone. And if you have a hack in the morning for how you like getting out the door in a peaceful way, please put it down in the comments. As always, thanks for joining me, and I'm going to see you in the next video. Have a great morning.